Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Kdrama Convos. And today we will be talking all about hospital playlists.
One of our favorites.
One of our top shows. But real quick spoiler warning, I guess, because we're talking about literally the entire first season in probably a lot of detail. Yeah. So we just finished watching it for the second time because we started it when it was like halfway out originally, which was in 2020. And we caught up with it. Right. And the last few we watched as they came out on Netflix.
And then when we found out the date of season 2, we decided we would watch it all over again right before jumping into season 2.
I was gonna say, and
we managed to do that in
I know
4 days,
4 or 5 days. We watched the entire thing. Oh gosh, because they're longer episodes. They're what, like an hour 20 to an hour and a half, and the finale is like really long.
Right.
But we were like, oh my gosh, it's like so long. And then we finished it like super quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this will be going up.
We have no problem binging.
Oh gosh, yeah. You know that fit too well. But this will be going up tomorrow. For today, it's Tuesday. And the episode's coming out the 17th. This will be going up the 16th. So the day before
season 2 comes out.
Yes. And we're really, really excited. Yes. I was saying to you how, because neither of us really watch many shows that are currently airing on TV, and most that we watch don't have a second season. Mm-hmm. So we're not used to having to wait. Oh my gosh. I think they did a pretty good job of wrapping certain things up. It felt like I think it was a really good ending for a first season kind of thing.
Right, but they made it obvious in the last eepisode that the story continues.
Oh, well, super obvious, yeah. But, I guess we've seen it twice, obviously. Now we just finished it for the second time. Mm-hmm. But, fun fact, we were terrible at the names. I was actually really proud of myself because I got all the names this time. The first time we watched it, we were so bad with, we couldn't remember the character names for the life of us.
So we just called everybody by their title. Yeah. If we knew what their title was.
No, not by their title, not by professor. No, we called them by their department.
Yeah, the pediatrician or the general surgeon.
Okay, so we talked about this show to each other and to other people who probably weren't interested, all the time. We mentioned this in our intro episode that we talked about hospitals way
more than any other show.
Most likely, I would say that we talked about the most. And I remember watching the first episode and being like, oh, this is really cool. It's about friends and that kind of thing. And then started getting a little bit of romance, and we were really excited. So you're gonna go and give a real quick summary.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So
this is for people who've seen it, just to
refresh your memory.
Jog your memory.
It's about these 5 friends who went to college together.
They met, college.
And that's where they met. And they all graduated from college. They're all successful doctors now. And they wind up working at the same hospital. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And while they hang out together, one of the things they do is they form a band. So it's so much fun having them sing
and play
in almost every episode, right?
Almost everyone, if not every.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the story goes on and it involves all sorts of other characters from the hospital, which is great.
Basically, the other people in their departments, mostly. Yeah, it's a lot of characters, I would say. But yeah, and I think
when you're trying to tell someone who's never seen it about it,
it's really hard.
They're like, "Oh my gosh, it sounds like a soap opera," but it's so not a soap opera.
It's really dramatic and and I think than a few other medical shows that we've seen. It seems more realistic. I mean, obviously, it's not like the most realistic out there, but it seems more realistic, especially certain scenes than some other medical shows. They're like a little like.
We won't mention some American medical shows that are terrible, but, you know.
But generally, I would say one of my favorite things about it is how much it's about friendship. That's probably one of my favorite things because, I mean, plenty of shows have that, but this really, that is the main focus, I would say, at least. Is like they're just normal, it's like normal lot. What's it they're saying it's like the typical lives of normal people. Like, I don't remember that's not what it is. But something along those lines, and how obviously romance is involved, but it's mainly the friendship.
Right. And that's the most important aspect of it.
Definitely. And they do a really good job of like, I mean, I guess because we saw this second time, we knew who everybody was, but I think they do a pretty good job of like introducing like people in the other departments and like also developing their characters, not just the main five.
Right. And it's neat to see. You see how the main five characters are all really good friends, but then you see them as they separate and go to their different departments, the different relationships they have in those departments.
Yeah, with the other people,
and whether they're friends with the other people or they're more of a mentor for the other people, and it's really neat to see.
Or even with the but you can't hear that. Like a motorcycle just fast. And then with the hospital, like, I guess you call him a director and one of the parents, they're like old friends, but they're like the next generation up. Right. And it's really cool because you get to see their friendship. And for them, it's a friendship. And I think that is
and each of them had a spouse that passed away.
Right. So then they're like great friends. Right. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And one of the things I loved about it was they didn't go into hospital like politics.
Is political there? I guess so. Yeah.
And they didn't have
that is so true.
The like nasty, corrupt.
I mean, there was a few people in the show that were slightly corrupt, definitely, but
they were just not nice people.
Yes, they were in it for the money,
right,
or the fame or whatever, but they weren't like the people who ran the hospital weren't like these nasty, terrible people, which we've seen a lot of the medical shows.
I remember when we first met
what's
director.
His name? Oh my gosh.
And we were like, oh no.
We were so afraid he was like that.
He's going to be one of those evil directors.
Like the nicest
and it was so
person.
refreshing to not Ju
Jung-soo. Director Ju, if you want to call him that.
It was so refreshing not to have that.
Because he's like
evil,
like the nice
director aspect. Yeah, he's so nice.
Oh my gosh, he's the nicest. He's so nice. But I remember when we rewatched it, I was like, oh wow, they really like purposely make it out to be like, oh, he's probably evil.
Oh, they do.
And then he's like the nicest person ever. But I think before we start talking about like specific scenes, because we have a list. We took notes pretty extensively, so that'll be interesting.
We tried to limit it to our favorite scenes, even though we would say every scene is really good.
Just about, yeah. So we'll talk about at least, just our favorite characters, I'd say, which is all the main five all of them. But do you want to talk about your favorite real quick, and then you go first. You start off.
Well, there isn't like one.
There isn't one.
Though I must say, Lee Ik-jun, is, and he's the general surgeon, has got to be up there on the list.
Definitely.
Yeah. Just how he interacts. He's so silly.
Oh my gosh,
he's such an intelligent person, and he's very sensitive to. He pays attention.
Yeah.
He observes.
Yeah, he notes stuff.
Things. Really. Like he observed Jungwon's he knew that he liked a certain girl before Jungwon even, I think, knew it himself.
And I think that it shows how, like, he's very observant, and he is such a people person that he's like, he's friends with people in every department. He's like besties with everybody.
Right.
And I love that.
Yes.
And also how he has a background in music.
Well, the actor does.
The actor does. Oh, yeah, sorry. The actor, which is Cho Jung-suk, I believe is how you say his name. I have a pulled
Jo
up.
Jung-suk.
Oh, Joe.
Jo Jung-suk.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
They did the romanization differently. Jo Jung-suk. He has a background in, like, theater. A few of them do, actually. But he is an amazing singer.
Oh, yeah.
And he knew how to play guitar. I think a few of the other people who were in it, the other actors, a lot of them had to learn how to play.
But he already knew how to do it.
And that fit so well. It works so well. Him as, like, June as a single father was also
that was precious.
So good.
It was so natural too.
He played it so well. It was amazing. Yeah. Okay, so
we
love him. We love everybody.
Right.
He's amazing.
So the second one would be An Jung-won, the pediatrician. Okay, so tell me a little bit about him.
Oh, pediatrician. I love him. One of the things they note throughout the show is how easy he is to read. Like, he shows his emotions. We'll talk about one of the scenes where it's the best thing ever. But he really does sympathize with his patients. Like, and I mean, some could say, like, too much, because he really does get emotionally invested, which, I mean, probably because they're kids, because he's a pediatrician. But I love... But it makes his character, it really does. And he's the kind of person who he feels happy when, like, someone else is happy. They noted that at some point. And I really love that about him.
Oh, yeah. And the one friend tells him that. She's like, you know, there's some people who are happy with this, some people are happy with this, and you are happy when the other person is happy.
She said, when you're eating alone... when you're eating or when someone else is eating.
Right.
And they're enjoying it. Is what she was saying. And how he's that type where if someone else is enjoying themselves, like, he'll also be happy. Themselves. And he's he really is a really good doctor. And, you know, obviously throughout the show where they were like, oh, shoot, is he going to, like, end up leaving? But how's that going to work? And, but really, he is an amazing person to be a doctor, even if he... emotionally might be a little too into it because it affects him a lot. Yeah. Okay. You go next.
Okay. Choi Sung-hwa.
The one girl.
So let's call her Sung-hwa.
Yep.
She's the neurosurgeon. Yep. She is such a focused person, and she has her whole life so well organized. She doesn't, like, waste time on anything. Yeah. You know, when she's there for surgery, she's all in as a surgeon. When she goes camping, she's all in as a camper. Yeah. And she's just... It's interesting because she's the only female in the friend group.
It doesn't feel out of place. No, nothing about it feels out of place. Not at all. Or she's a amazing mentor to her. I guess those are the residents, basically. Right. But she's such a good teacher. Really good teacher. And she has this cool way of, like, teaching it. And at some point, they're like, "Oh, you know, you must." Not like hanging out with me, but they're like, no, we're not.
Hanging out
we're not like scared of you, like or anything like that. And you know, every now and then she like quiz them on something, and they're like, oh shoot, I don't know. And I really like that.
But they don't feel intimidated by her.
No, but they still
because she's very encouraging.
Yeah, they enjoy her company, and she's also. I mean, they're all really good doctors, right. And I mean, the neurosurgery is just insane to me that you can do that, like surgery on the brain. Oh my word. Yeah, I think her camping is also really cool, and also she loves to and how she loves to study. Like that is what she does.
She gets so excited when she gets new camping stuff.
Oh, so funny. Yes. Okay.
And when she got it delivered to the hospital the one
Yeah,
time.
and,
so
one
funny.
of them was like, "Why the heck you got that?" She's like, "For me, I'm treating myself."
Right,
Like,
right.
It was so fun. Okay.
Okay, the next one would be Kim Jung-won.
Junwon?
Jun-won,
Junwon. Okay.
who's the cardiothoracic surgeon.
Yes. Oh, you said it right. Good for you. Cardiothoracic. I can say it too. I got good at saying those because we called them by that.
Yes.
The first
But
time.
now we call him Jun-won.
We do.
Because we know what his name is
I
now.
pulled their names up too, just in case. I was like, I know. You wrote it down. I was like, oh shoot.
Okay. So what do you like about Jun-won?
I mean, obviously he's seen as pretty cold, but he's actually like deep down isn't the right word. But really, he does like.
He does care about his
Yeah,
patients, but he is not
he doesn't get
Jung-won.
He doesn't get like
he doesn't get like emotionally invested.
Yes.
Because he knows he can't. He can't get that invested in his patients.
Yes.
He's working on people's hearts. You know,
Yeah, exactly. And I think they do a good job of like they show him how he's kind of cold, but he's also sometimes pretty good as a teacher. Also with one of the certain residents who their relationship.
well,
is so
and I remember
funny.
him telling the two students
The two med students.
that he was given the option of do you want to make a lot of money or do you want to teach? And he said, I want to teach.
Yes.
So he's
Which
there.
was kind of a fake answer, but I think
But
that
still,
is true.
I think that his heart is to teach
and to save people.
Right.
He's not in it for the money. I also think he's also very funny, and him being like slightly serious makes it
Oh yeah, it makes his funny even funnier.
He can be so goofy though. Like all of them. Oh my gosh, they're all so funny. But I think like some people look at him especially before they know him, are like, oh my gosh, he's so cold. But there's a reason he acts that way, especially in the hospital, which you kind of, get to understand throughout the show.
Right, he's got this professional coat that he puts on when he's in the hospital.
That's true.
And when he's with his friends, oh my goodness, he takes that coat off.
Or him, Junwon and Sanghwa, and their food is just so funny. Okay. So, next one.
Last one.
Last of the main five. I'm going to talk about a few
Yang
more.
Suk-hyung.
Suk-hyung. Yep. The
OBGYN. Right.
Yep. So, what do you... Well, I think we're switching back and forth.
Okay, yeah, we are,
I think we're on you.
He is super shy, super quiet,
reserved. Very, likes having alone time kind of person.
Right. But then you find out a little bit about why he's like that. You know, his stuff that he went through with his father, and then
his
with
sister,
his
ex. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, he's gone through a lot.
His mom is gone
so
through.
his being friends with the other four is super important to him. He's the one that said, I'm willing to sign the contract and be a part of this hospital only if we can
get the band back together.
Yes. So that is really important to him.
And I mean, I think he was always, I think, the most reserved out of the friend group. And it's kind of funny because compared to the other four, who are, most of them, I would say, are pretty outgoing. Right. I would say, especially Ikjun, obviously. But especially compared to them, he's very much like quote unquote a loner in a way. But you kind of, like you were saying, you learn why. Like, I mean, he probably has the most rough
backstory.
Yeah, and also throughout the show too, it's just rough.
But yet you watch him with his patients, and he he comes right out there and says the facts.
Right.
But he's so gentle about it.
Yeah, and he understands, especially working with people who, like, literally have a child in them.
Right.
That it's something that can be very, very difficult. Or the one scene, like, he stayed with the person while she was, like, crying. Like, didn't send her out of the room.
Right.
Like, so sympathize how he understands how hard that can be.
One of my favorite scenes with him that really
shows, like, his personality.
Shows his character was when the woman who had miscarriages
oh yeah
was having to take medicine and to prevent another miscarriage.
Yeah, because she was like weak,
and she was so upset
that she had
these miscarriages,
and she felt like it was her fault.
Yeah, but he's like, there is nothing that says you're wrong because you've had a miscarriage. What did he say? Isn't a disease. And he just, but he didn't say it in a sicky, sweet voice.
No,
he just said it as, a gentle fact to her. And that was really cool.
And it's really sweet that his relationship with his mom, in a way, he was almost like, quote unquote, not forced to. He ended up having that relationship with his mom because of what his family has gone through.
Right.
And it was really cool to see, though, how he spends a lot of his time with his mom.
And he's not ashamed of it, which is neat.
No,
he doesn't hide it.
He's like, oh, me and my mom were going out for dinner.
I got a date with my mom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do with you. So, real quick, we'll mention like two, three other people. How do you say her name? Jang Gyo-wol. Okay.
Gyo-wol.
Who is the general surgery resident.
Yes.
The only one. It was so
the
funny.
only resident. She's also female.
Oh, yeah, female.
And all of the general surgeons are male. And there's like...
Oh, yeah, all of them.
A ton of them.
I didn't think of that. Yeah, all of them are. That's
yeah,
funny.
they're all male.
Yeah.
I think there's like at least 6 of them.
There's like 13 or something.
13?
There's a lot.
So they are all trying to get her to help with their surgeries all the time.
Funny.
So she gets her choice of what surgeries to help with.
She wants to help with, yeah. But you can see quite a bit of actually character development with her,
Absolutely.
I would say. Because with her, you see at the beginning of the show, she basically, to a guardian or parent, she like basically just states the facts to them, which I understand from her perspective. She knows what it means and this and that. She just tells them it straight up and like
if you had performed CPR, this could be better.
Yeah, exactly. And
which is true, but you don't say that
to a parent, because if that child passes away, it's like they're going to blame themselves, which if they don't know how to do it, they don't know how to do it.
Right.
And there's nothing they can do. But you watch her learn.
Yeah, because she didn't understand. She didn't see what she did wrong.
Until someone noted it, and then she was like, oh, you're right. I shouldn't have said it like that. But you see throughout the show how she really starts to, like, note that more and see that, and how she really is a very diligent worker, I would say. And she's not really afraid of anything. She's also very quiet. I don't know if shy is the right word.
No, she's just really quiet.
Reserved, maybe.
Yeah, reserved is good.
She doesn't seem shy. She just... she isn't a talker, really.
Right.
And it's really cool with her crush and and everything with that. And then one of the other ones is...
Oh, wait a minute. We have to mention the fact that we found it so funny that later on we discover that she and one of the other, and the OBGYN resident are both Army.
Awesome. And she has...
And they bonded over that.
And that's how they, like, became besties.
Right. They met at a fan...
like a fan club. Fan meeting kind of thing. And she has a Vaughn pin on her, like, backpack or something, which we, like, freaked out when I saw it. Okay, really good. Okay. There's so many characters. Do Jae-hak, with a K, I don't know how to say it. Jae-hak, who's he's the older one. He's from cardiothoracic.
Oh, yes.
Him and Jun-won are so funny together because it's the one who's like, Jun-won isn't a talker. He's not like, and except when he's at work, especially. And then the resident, I don't know how to say his name, so I'm just gonna say the resident. He's like a third year or something. Like he's older. He just keeps going
and talking and talking.
And it like annoys Junwan in there. It's just theirs is very comedic. But
their balance is so important.
Their balance is good.
That Junwan he'll come out and tell the Guardian all the things that went on in surgery, how this was tough and we almost lost him and all this stuff.
Before he says like they were fine.
Before he says, well, the surgery was a success. Yeah. Whereas the resident will say, no. First, you have to tell them it was a success.
to the professor, he says.
Right, you tell the professor. So I think they need each other.
Yeah, they
in
really
that
do.
respect.
Or at some point in the show, the resident's like, I didn't know what decision to make. And Junwan's like, just ask me. If I'm not
that
busy,
was such
just
a moment
ask
that
me.
they had.
Yes. And he definitely, I think, is not as much as a teacher as Sung Hwa is, but you can see his teaching moments, definitely.
Right.
And then I have their names pulled up. That's why I'm good. Then there's Chu Min Ha, who's the OBGYN
resident.
She's a resident.
Yeah,
too.
she's a resident.
And I think she's older slightly than some of the other people, not old as the other guy, but I think that sounds weird. She sounds like just like a regular person. Like it sounds stupid. I like how they like she tries to make herself look younger, so she like changes her makeup.
Oh yeah, at the very beginning she looks different each.
That was like really
each scene,
funny.
Each episode.
Yeah, and I think even with her too, because she's like a first year or second year resident, so she's only she hasn't been there as long. You can see that like throughout the show, she learns a lot from Suk Hyung, like a few things, with delivery.
And she changes her whole perspective on him too.
Yes, she does. Like at first she thinks like, he's terrible, but then gets to know him and understands his personality and stuff like that. I think cool.
I think that shows a lot about human nature. How when we first meet people, we make an instant decision on whether they're a nice person or a bad person before we really get to know them.
And then she got to know him and was like, And then, I'm trying to go really quick here. Oh, by the way, I'm saying the character names.
Yeah.
By the way, not the actors' names. Yong Suk Min, who, he's part of neurosurgery. He's the one who's like dead, tired, he's the chief resident.
He's the chief resident. Oh, okay.
Who's literally dead.
Oh, that
basically.
guy.
Oh my gosh.
He never gets to sleep.
Poor dude. But he is a really good secondary. I think they did a good job of still developing even his character, because he also learns obviously about the medical field, but certain ways to talk to patients and how to tell people this and that. And
he also seems like just a regular guy.
Yeah. Who is a doctor?
Yeah,
who's a doctor?
Yeah.
But it's him and the one or two other people who are in neurosurgery. The other guy, I think the other girl is she in it too? Yeah, I think she is. The interactions between them I really like, because it's
the one with the short hair.
The one with short hair. Yeah. It's showing the interactions between all the people who are similar level.
Yeah, seeing their interactions outside of surgery, in the break room and stuff is cool.
Thing, yeah. And then there is Hyo Sun Bin, that's the girl who with the short hair. She basically, she's also really cool, but she's not as much.
She's pretty much of a minor character.
Yeah.
You mentioned the nurse.
The mom. Oh my gosh, I don't know her name.
That's okay. She's the nurse.
I can pull it up.
She has a teenage daughter who comes in at one point.
Oh, I got it.
She's the neatest lady.
Song Subin.
I really like her character.
They really show that for her as a nurse, she's not doing nothing. She's actually really, really busy.
She's very busy,
and she is so cool. I love
and
her.
I love when her daughter made a video of it. Her daughter, didn't realize.
Yeah, she's just a nurse.
But after watching her mom work, her mom is a hero. You know.
Yeah. And then probably the last character we'll mention
Okay.
because there's so many characters.
There
They're
are
all
a ton,
so good.
and they're all great.
We have 2 more after this. On Chi-young, I think it was Cho-young, I don't know. The resident, he used to be in the military, in neurosurgeon.
Oh, the neurosurgeon.
You were saying how you're not sure if it's his acting. I think it's his acting. How he sometimes acts kind of awkward.
Yeah.
I think it's his character, and I think he does a really good job of that. And he very much throughout the show is like learning.
Yes.
Because he
eventually becomes the chief resident.
Oh yeah, he's becoming it. Yeah. And I really do like his character. He's slightly quieter, a little bit awkward sometimes, but he's pretty good at like studying. He's good at that, and he also is pretty good with the patients and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, last 2 people is the hospital director. He's hilarious. Like,
he's just an old man.
Just like the #1 grandpa.
And,
to be honest, like he's so great. Oh, here we go. Here's
but
her name.
he wouldn't be as great and as funny without
young Rosa.
Rosa.
Oh, Rosa is
Jungwon's mother.
And I love her character. She's very bold.
Right.
She's older. She doesn't really care.
And the 2 of them were friends since
like little kids,
kids.
like 5.
Yeah.
And their relationship is so funny.
Yes.
But she's like very bold, doesn't care what people think or say, and like does whatever she wants. And I really, really like her character. And then, the other people are Wooju, which is Ik-jun's son.
Right.
He's, I think, the most precious thing I've probably ever seen. He's so cute. And then Ik-sun, which is Ik-jun's sister, who I think who's in the military, and she, I think, has a really fun character. Like, she, probably because, stereotypical in the military, she's very straightforward, pretty bold, but doesn't, get, like, caught up on, like, certain stuff, I'd say. Okay,
moving on.
I think we've introduced characters. What do you think?
There's about, 100 more, but we can't go into everybody.
There's so many characters. Okay, so we're going to go episode by episode.
Yeah.
We'll try and keep them short and talk about our favorite scenes. Some episodes, we have more notes than others. Okay. Do you want to go first?
Okay.
Episode 1.
Episode 1. So this is where we find out how the 5 met in college, and they were trying to get away from singing in front of the rest of the newbies, and they all went out and hid in the shed. And at some point or other, somebody set up a camera and took a picture of themselves in the shed. And I just thought that was so neat because they were all there for the same reason. They all were trying to hide. And it just, and the two were friends already. And then
2 were from the countryside.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 knew each other in like elementary, middle school or something. And then Sunghwa didn't know them.
Right.
And they just kind of ended up getting stuck together.
Yeah.
And that was
that just started their whole thing.
And because they got asked at one point, because you guys were in totally different departments, how the heck did you become friends? And that's how, Ik-jun, they mentioned he's like friends with like every class. It's just so funny. At the very first episode, they're all at a funeral, which is actually Junwon's dad. Dad's?
Jungwon.
Sorry.
Not Junwon.
Jungwon's his dad's funeral. And then that's when they find out he's like the heir to the hospital.
It's funny that they never knew that.
I think one person knew it. Someone knew it.
Yes, right.
One of them knew it.
It was the OGYN.
Yeah, he knew it. Yeah. And they're all like sitting around the table. All of them are in like black, and Ik-jun is in surgery right now, but Yuju, his son, was with them, and they're like all taking care of the son.
So
I found that
sweet.
really, really cute.
Yeah.
But that's one of the first interactions you see among the friends, and like their interactions are, I find, seem very natural.
Yes.
They seem very, very true.
Yeah. Everything seems so real. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as much like a drama as a show about real people.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like over the top or anything.
Right.
It just seems like regular people, because that's what they were going for. Yeah. And then the other, probably like my top scene, was when An Jung-won, you get to see one of his patients isn't doing well. And obviously for years he's been wanting to become a priest.
Yeah.
And when he goes with his oldest brother to the same restaurant, and then you get a flashback to every year, like the past.
So his patient wasn't doing well, so he went to talk to his brother. And his brother's like, okay, let's meet at the restaurant. And so he sits there and he cries.
He's drinking and bawling.
Can't do this anymore. And his brother responds, okay,
Andrea.
I get it. Andrea, let's just do this.
Till the end of the year.
Till the end of the year.
And then you get a flashback to every year.
Every year is the same thing. And every time he's crying, Andrea, let's just do this to the end of the year.
And then one of them, he's like super, super happy. And like, that was hilarious, because I wasn't expecting like the flashback.
The flashbacks made it.
Okay. Right. Do you have a name for episode 1? Or
that's okay.
Good. Episode 2, they should be in order of when it happens in the episode. It's when, I don't know, someone is standing at the exit, and then everybody else pulls up in the car.
Songhwa. She was standing there at the exit. Yes.
And they pull up and just have the front windows down, and she's like, "Oh, where's everybody else?" They roll the windows down, like, "Hey, let's go!" And
they pile into this car so they can all go out to dinner.
So
that's
funny.
one of the things. The two things that these people do together all the time are music and food, which is awesome.
I love how much, because, like, of course, it's like in between them working.
Right, that's what they do. At the end of the day, they all go out.
But it shows like their friendship, where she only sees 2 of them. She's like, "Oh, where's everybody else? Aren't we gonna wait for them?" They roll down the windows. They're already
Or when
here.
they're out to eat and somebody gets a phone call, they just get up from the table and leave, and everybody understands. They don't
or they
have
help
to
them get their stuff or something, because they're all working in the same house.
They all get it.
What one do you have? I bet you have the same one. Episode 2.
Oh,
about the ex.
Songhwa's boyfriend.
Ex-boy.
Cheated on her.
Yes. We get to see that.
Yeah, we see that. But
Jun-won
witnesses it. Jun-won witnesses it.
The cardiothoracic.
Right.
Yes.
And then we don't see it right away.
Yes.
But it's in a flashback. He goes and confronts him.
Yes. It's like, dude, you have to tell her you cheated.
Yeah. And that is just so cool.
Yes. And then the guy.
He's protecting his friend.
Exactly. And the guy gets all defensive, like, what the heck? Like, why?
Who are you to tell me
this? Are you, like, dating
this?
or something? Like, what? And he's like, no, I'm her friend.
Exactly.
I am telling you as a friend, you need to go tell her. And she was like mad at him that he didn't tell her right away, because he wanted the guy. Hear from the guy. Okay. Episode 3.
Episode 3. My favorite scene.
That was loud.
Sorry.
Yes, it's in this one. Oh my
was
God.
when they flashback to when they're in college and they're singing Aloha. Oh my goodness.
I think I rewatched that one multiple times.
Oh yeah.
It's hysterical.
It is. Oh my goodness. Because Ik-jun can sing. So he's singing with this gorgeous voice.
And they make Songhwa the actress can actually sing.
Right,
She's perfect fan. The character
can't sing. God. And then but it's
when they all get up for like
Jun-won that kills me. He's jumping up and down. I believe.
You should have heard us the second time we watched it through.
We sang it.
And we were like singing it with them, like terribly. We can't sing.
We can't sing either. So we sing at the top of our lungs just like they did. Yes. And it was terrible. And it was so fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could rewatch that scene so many times. Because they're just like awkwardly hopping around, dancing, just enjoying themselves.
Right.
Really.
But I think if someone from our family would walk in, they would not
they wouldn't get it.
What is this? This is awful.
Terrible, but it's hysterical.
But if you're like that's episode 3, and we were already so invested in the characters.
Yes, so invested already.
That we really appreciated that. It was so funny.
Yeah.
It was so
and
funny.
the other one was that I have is Ik-jun and his son Yuju. I think Ik-jun wanted to go out with everybody for karaoke, but everybody said no.
So he took his son.
And they didn't go into karaoke.
No, they didn't.
But they're like outside of one. He's like, and Ik-jun to his son is like, oh man, this is where I vibed as a kid. This is where I was. And his Yuju is so cute.
He's adorable.
And, he's adorable. And he sometimes uses big words or something for his age, and it's just too cute.
Precious
too cute,
relationship
yes.
right there.
Okay. What do you for 4?
Oh, wait.
Oh, sorry.
For episode 3. This is a little bit more serious.
Oh, yeah.
There was a traffic accident patient. Well, actually, there was a man who was Ik-jun's patient.
Oh my gosh,
He was all better, and he got released from the hospital.
Yeah, and the next day.
Next day, he was in a traffic accident, and so he came in. And as it turns out, he was brain dead. They
pronounced him brain dead. Yes.
So what they were going to do is, he was an organ donor, but
it was that day. It was Children's Day, and he had this really, really nice son.
Right,
and they were really looking forward to going out for Jajangmyeon together.
Yeah, and Ik-jun asked the procurement team, "Can
That's
we
what you
wait?
call it? I had no idea.
Can we wait?
I think it was only
10 more minutes." And they kind of looked at him like, well, why?
Yeah.
And 10 minutes later, it would have been midnight and would have been the next day, because he didn't want the son to know that Children's Day every year was the day his father died.
Yes, and to know that because on Children's Day, he'll never be able to have that with his dad again. Right. That was really, really, probably partly true because he had a son himself. Right. He really understood that. And you could see he really cared. He had a relationship even with their son, when they would come in to visit their dad and stuff like that. But that was really cool. And it wasn't like it was long. It was 10 minutes. Obviously it was an
But the
hour.
fact that he even thought about postponing it for just a little bit.
Because I remember him watching the mom who's trying to hold it together, because obviously the son is so little, he doesn't understand. And he at one point picks up and is holding the son slightly away from the mom, and she just starts crying, but she didn't want to in front of her son, basically. Okay, number 5. This has
Episode 4.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how to count. Episode 4. What do you have? I only have 1.
Uju and his dad go to get food.
Sandwiches, yeah.
And he talks about his girlfriend, which is so funny.
He's so cute, and you can really tell that he's really enjoying himself on set. And I think they did a really, really good job with their relationship between each other.
But at that point, Ik-ju's wife had said, "I want a divorce."
No, that
wasn't it?
No, not yet.
Yeah, no, because
that's a later scene. Scene.
Well, in that scene, Uju says to his dad, "I just need you.
Yes, oh my gosh.
You're my favorite person in the universe."
That's a later scene, but that is so cute. Yeah, okay. Episode 5. When...
Wait. I have one more.
Okay, I only had that one.
Okay, now, and I traced the development of the relationship between Jungwon and Gyeol. And the very first thing that at first when he sees her,
he doesn't
really like her because he sees how she
interacted with the guardian.
Yeah, that was terrible. But then he starts to warm up, and at one point,
it gets to know her a little bit and see that she actually is a good doctor.
Right? Yes. Is that after? This is gonna sound really weird. After the maggot scene, I think that's what changed his mind about her.
Partly.
Anyway, so there's these cakes on the table,
like snacks,
and he just kind of,
and she was eating a bunch of them during this meeting,
right? So he just kind of slid the 2 extra cakes,
and then kind of stood up and left
without anybody noticing, without saying anything, in front of her. So that was the very first sweet moment between the 2 of them.
I'm sorry, I just swallowed my
Drink some water.
And that was him noting that she was eating those.
Yes. Yeah, so he noticed. Yeah.
Sorry, I just
Even though for many, many episodes from there on out, he denies
fair
that he likes her.
yeah,
Okay, episode 5.
Now we can count. Let's go. You want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, when Yoel, I think is how you say her name, when she chases down a dad, they figure out he's been abusing his sons. And he books it. And she, like, takes off her Crocs and her jacket and starts
running.
Like, I mean, this is intense. And she, like, tackles him to the ground, but then she gets back up. And then in the end,
Songhwa
throws, like, an empty water bottle. Boom. But she was, like, not letting him get away. Because, of course not.
And that made an impression on John Wan.
Yes. Okay. Oh, shoot. This next one's, like, one of my...
Yes.
Okay. You got me down?
The Mafia game.
Oh, the Mafia game. Okay. I mean, we don't have to explain it because obviously people who are listening have seen it before. But it's the Mafia game when, Jung-won,
and his mother.
And his mom, and, what's his name? Suk-hyung's mom, and the hospital director, and his cousin who was, like, high up in the hospital.
Oh, right.
All of them. Is he? Wait. Oh, no. Sorry. No, he's not there. No, he's not there. Is he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, no, he is.
Yeah,
okay.
he is.
So it's basically Jung-won, and then four like,
people who are
60s.
probably in their 60s. Yes.
And the hospital director gets a call from his, like
his grandson.
Yes. And who's like, I'm playing the Mafia game. And he's like, I want to learn how to play it so I can play it with him. Oh, my gosh. Poor Jung-won starts to, let's play. Sure, why not? Oh, my gosh.
And they totally misunderstand the directions, and they think when he says day and night that he's talking about literal day
like, dude,
and
you
night.
got plans later? and then it's especially what's the mom's name? Oh shoot! What's his
Rosa,
and the hospital director get so defensive with each other, and they're like, you betrayed me."
But it was such a generational thing.
It was so good.
Funny.
That made it so funny.
Yeah, because that's what actually happens. I mean, think about it. When you're talking to your grandmother about something and she just totally doesn't get it.
I tried to explain how to play Mafia too. That's probably what would happen. Okay, you go.
Okay.
Oh, this is one of your favorites.
Okay. So Junwon is going over to Iksun's house.
Ik-jun's house.
What did I say?
Ik-sun.
Ik-jun's house.
So Ik-jun's sister.
Ik-jun's sister Ik-sun.
Oh, it's really annoying.
Is at his house.
She's on break or something, I guess.
Right. Now, this is the one in the military.
Yes, the sister. In the military.
Just previous to that, they had been talking about, in the car, about how his sister has, the 5th level of black belt.
Degree.
5th degree in black belt
in like
5 different martial arts
she's like,
or something.
Or like a 1st degree in a bunch of different ones.
Right.
Oh.
And now, because they grew up together, he knows her.
Yeah.
So he goes...
But he probably hasn't seen her for a while. She's been in the military.
So he thinks it's going to be really funny to sneak up on her.
She has like earbuds in. Is listening to music.
And he knows the passcode to the house.
Goes in.
So he goes in. And he sneaks up on her, and she must have
sensed it or heard
him step. And what is the kick that she gives to him?
A roundhouse.
A roundhouse. And his glasses go
break.
flying.
And then no. He hits a cabinet. They're one of the ones where you push to open.
Yes.
And he hits it. I don't even know that was purposeful. And it opens. And he
slides down to the floor.
She's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like,
but his face was so funny.
Just
the utter shock.
Oh my gosh. It was so good. And later on, his face is swollen from it.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'll have one. I don't think you have. No, you don't have this one. I don't think you have this one written down. Songhwa, when I don't remember his name. One of the residents, the main resident, they're in her office alone, and she straight up asks him, like, do you like me? Like,
right.
do you? And he's like, yes. And that was not what she was expecting.
No, it's not.
And they do a pretty good job, though, of, I mean, after that, she's like, don't even confess to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, like, no. And they do a pretty good job keeping it okay at work.
Right.
Still, I mean, it takes a day or two for them to stop feeling awkward. But then you do...
She never feels awkward.
No. But you do see, like, throughout the rest of the show, how he still really likes her.
Right.
It's very genuine. Okay. I bet you have this one down.
Oh, yes. Okay, so Junwan meets Ik-sun.
She's in the hospital. They meet in the hospital.
No, I'm talking about at the food.
No. I'm saying from their first meeting, he, like, keeps checking up on her and stuff.
Right.
And,
so
like,
we discover that he likes her.
He likes her.
You know, as a viewer, you know this.
Gosh.
And she doesn't know.
Oh, oblivious.
She's pretty oblivious, you know.
In a way.
So they meet
Or
up
she
at
hides that
they
she's...
meet up at this food truck.
I think it's she forgot her phone and he's giving it back to her.
Right. And she has a little tin of chocolates that he loves. I hate the Dove thing. Let's skip the Dove thing.
Yeah,
I think it's ridiculous. But the little tin of chocolates. She's like, let me give you some. And she shakes it into his hand, and she's like, no, that's too much. And then finally puts some into his hand.
Just a little bit, and then he goes with the other hand.
He takes those and with his other hand takes her hand
just, like, holds it.
Oh
my gosh. Yeah.
No, he takes the chocolates out and puts his other hand in.
Yeah.
And at that point, he tells her that he likes her, and it's just
really sweet,
so sweetly done.
Yeah. And
it wasn't this big grandiose confession.
They're also, like, almost 40 or something. Like, they don't need something fancy. Like, they're older, like, whatever. And at that point, he's like, you don't need to give me the answer. And later on, they're texting. She's like, give me a week. And then I'll tell you. Like, he's like, I gotta think about it.
And it was pretty impressive. He waited a whole week. And
glued to his phone.
Didn't pester her.
I know.
I don't even think he called her at all.
No.
He just, yes, he was glued to his phone. It was pretty funny.
But he was like, fine. She said a week.
I'll give her a week.
Yeah.
That was neat. That was really neat.
Okay, episode 6. We're halfway. Halfway episode
point.
6.
Okay. Whoa, I have a lot for episode 6.
I have a lot for episode 6. Do you want to go first?
Okay. So Junwan's mother, Rosa, she took a taxi to the hospital
to get a checkup. Just a general checkup.
Which she's
over here, and she's like complaining about how she's a guardian to sign a paper.
So funny.
She's so her.
So at the end of her time at the hospital,
she says hi to the director.
Right. So they go down to the parking garage together.
She has her keys,
and she's got her keys, and she's pressing the button.
I think he is.
Or did he take it from her?
She, one of them is.
They're trying to find her car. And suddenly she realizes...
and just starts laughing.
She squats down on the ground. And the giggles. The giggles are so funny. Because she realizes, my car's not here. I took a taxi.
And then he starts laughing with her, and I'm like, they just can't stop it.
And they're like, these 60-year-olds they're giggling like teenagers. It was awesome. It was so good. And how true is that? Duh. I took a taxi.
You would do that, okay?
I would totally do that.
Okay. And the next one, this is when... Oh, where is it? Oh, shoot. Okay, there it is. Junwan, at this point, had confessed to Ik-sun, the sister, but hadn't got an answer back yet. So he hasn't told anybody. He got a crush on her and hasn't told anybody. And Ik-jun thinks that the neurosurgeon resident, who they knew each other from the military, the resident knew the sister. I don't remember the resident's name.
That's okay.
Knew the sister from the military. And he's like, I think my sister might have a crush on you. Like, I think this could work. And
oh, this scene.
And Junwon, who hasn't told anybody his feelings for the sister, takes a hard-boiled egg.
Well, Ik-jun had brought this bag of eggs.
Yes.
Hard-boiled eggs.
He'd brought the eggs in for them to share. And then Junwon takes one and just smacks the back of his head with it. And Jun just looks at him like, what are you doing?
Is that where they start to grab each other's hair?
And he grabs his hair. It's like, dude, what the heck? And they start fighting, like a physical fight.
As only really great friends could fight. Yeah.
It was
so
funny. Okay. The next ones are, okay, do you want to do the next? What one do you have? It's your next one. It's about Sunghwa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. Junwon. He meets the OBGYN resident in the cafeteria and starts talking to her. Jungwon. I have a hard time with their names.
Jungwon and Jungwon.
Jungwon. And
pediatrician.
He makes it apparent that he's been observing Gyeolwol.
And he realized that Gyeolwol is really good friends with the OBGYN resident.
Right. And so he sits and chats with her a little bit. Which was...
and then when she leaves because of Gyeolwol had an allergic reaction, he's like, watching her leave. You kind of noted it.
Right.
Yeah.
When do we see the flashback?
That's not the final episode.
Really?
Yes.
It made a long time for that.
I know, right? Okay, this next one starts
a little more serious.
This one starts off serious. Sunghwa, the only girl, feels a lump on her chest, and she's like, "Oh shoot!" She goes to a different hospital. Doesn't want to worry
right. Doesn't tell anybody.
Yeah, doesn't tell anybody. Goes to see if it even could be a problem. Goes in. The person tells her, doesn't feels kind of hard. Doesn't have a good shape. I don't like that.
We'll do a biopsy.
Right. And then in one of the next scenes, you see her and I said the boys.
Right, the
her
boys.
and the boys around a table, at a restaurant. And she basically tells them, I got a biopsy and it could be cancerous and it doesn't look like a good shape.
Right.
And they all start trying to she has the results tomorrow. I think she waited a week.
Right.
And they all a bunch of them start trying to call the hospital. They're oh, my cousin works
getting
there.
the results
I'll get the
faster.
Results for you. And they're all are you sure? I'll come with you. Don't worry about it. She is nope. Don't show up.
This is exactly why I didn't tell you guys.
And they all get so genuinely worried about. Of course they do. It's about their best friend could potentially have breast cancer.
Right.
And it shows they immediately start wanting to try and call the hospital, get the results early, because they probably already have it in, and this and this and that. And it really, really showed the friendship.
Right.
I really, really liked that. Can I keep telling you?
Go ahead.
I really like these scenes.
Yes. And the next one is the next morning.
Yeah, the next morning, she's going in an hour before they usually take patients, because they're really nice and we're able to get her in because she has patients to look at. And she basically had told the boys, just wait for me, okay? I'll tell you the results once I have them. And you can tell in the car, she's a little nervous. She's very nervous going into this. And Ik-jun comes after his surgery, so he hasn't slept at all. And is waiting for her sitting, out in, the waiting area. And she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm here to, be with you. And it really showed, especially with him, how he's very, especially with him, with her, is, very, he probably could tell she was going to be scared. How could you not?
Right.
How could you not?
Right.
And so it was really sweet. He had coffee to give her and was giving it to the staff.
Right. And she didn't want to ask anybody
to come.
Yeah. But I think she was glad he was there.
Yes. Yeah, in the end, she was glad. And then the next thing you see her smile, ear to ear smile. So she's fine.
Right, she's in her office.
She's in her office waiting she's 10 minutes before she's about to hear patients. I think and it's a sliding door to get into the office. And I think it's the OBGYN. I think he comes first, they know the results were coming out that day and they're all at the hospital. He kind of cracks the door. He's like, how was it? She's like, it's benign. It's fine. He's like, oh, good. I knew it was going to be. And then next is Jungwon, the pediatrician, kind of opens it a bit further. He's like, okay, how was it? She's like, it looked good. They'll take a test in like a few months. And he's like, I knew it. I knew you're going to be fine. This is probably the funniest one. Jungwon opens it, like, basically
slams it open.
Like, he's like, and she's like, it's benign, it's fine. He's like, oh, good, and slams it. He, like, breaks the door. And then she asks, like, her 2 residents, like, oh, was that everybody? They're like, I think so. And then Ik-jun is like, oh, I saw all the boys coming over. And he's like, oh, do we have practice? Like, every single person came to visit her to know the results as soon as possible.
Yes, that was
But
great.
how they open the door different ways.
It said a lot about their personalities, I think,
so
the way
funny.
they opened the door. Yeah.
I laughed so hard. Junwon, like, broke the door. Okay, you take the next one. Because I know that you love this
Oh,
one.
yes. The revelation that Ik-jun liked Songhwa
Oh, shoot. Wait,
back in college.
that ain't in this. Oh, you wrote that down. I thought you were going to do the other one.
What other one?
I'll get it.
Okay. So he got...
We see a flashback.
We see a flashback, and he got her
A ring.
and
A
he
ring or
put it
necklace
in
or something.
He put it in
In a box.
box, in a gift bag and everything, and he was going to give it to her, but he found out that night
Suk-hyung.
that Suk-hyung had
gotten rejected.
confessed to her and gotten rejected. And
Don't break the bro code, man.
but man,
Oh, yeah.
he gave her up so as to not hurt his
Exactly.
friend.
Yeah, I know. It's like really cool. Okay. The next one. A lot happened in
A lot
6.
happens in
a lot.
6,
This is an
yeah.
eventful one. This one's really cute. Junwon had been glued to his phone for like straight up week.
A week,
till
right.
everybody was like, you get rejected or something? Because like they could tell. It's Ik-sun, the sister, finally texts him and says, it's official. It's day 1. We're a couple. He like does this like
Little
happy
happy
dance in the hall. He's like skipping around. It is
Which
hysterical.
looks like it's very contrary to his character because he's such a
Yes, yeah.
serious person.
And they show
But
that
he's
side
so
of him.
excited.
Mhm. Yes. Okay. Okay. Episode 7. I'm ready for 6, right?
Right. Okay.
7. Okay.
7. Another Jungwon Gilwol moment. She
We should have a whole episode
episode
just
for
each couple of
she got the liver for a
little
patient. Yes, and she the elevator was broken. So she went and got the cooler and ran all the way. Who knows? The hospital is massive.
It's huge.
Who
Oh my gosh,
knows
I've
what
never seen a
floor
hospital
they
that
were
big.
on.
Yeah,
And
I
she's
know.
she's
So she's like
huffing,
out of breath,
out of
and,
breath.
he's like, "Would you run here?" She's like, "Yeah."
He's like,
the elevator was
yeah."
broken.
And he takes note of that
takes
again.
note of that. Okay.
Another moment.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. There's another moment of theirs, but go on.
Okay. When Junwon and Ik-soon have like one of their first dates, he goes to her base. There's the word. We both got it. And they have jjajangmyeon together, which by the way looks amazing. And he like mixes it for her, and she's like all touched.
You mix this for me?
And they're like really, really cute.
And if you think about it, she was surprised by that. That probably says a lot about her previous
we find out
relationship.
later. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, how that meant that was a big deal to her.
Yeah, she
Such a
found it really
simple,
touching. Yeah.
a simple little act like that.
And they're really cute. I like them. Okay, your turn.
Oh, so Gilwol, she hears some of the other residents talking about how they went out to dinner with
Is that in this?
Jungwon,
Oh my
and
gosh.
so she decides,
With the pediatrician
with
who okay, she's a crutch on.
obviously,
Obviously, you've seen this, so sorry. I
Right.
keep thinking we're not explaining this much.
So she goes and asks him to buy her dinner,
Like straight up.
which is a normal thing for a junior person to do to their something.
Yeah, that's not too weird.
And so he takes it as that at first.
I was like,
let's
sure,
get together with everybody. And she's like, no, I want to get together, just the two of us, in our regular clothes outside the hospital. And he does, and then the episode ended there. In the end, he said,
"I'm busy this weekend.
I'm busy."
Yeah.
Yeah. But she was bold enough and brave enough to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, straight up ask it. Yeah. Oh shoot! I just bumped the mic. When Iksun, the sister, calls Junwon, and his phone is hooked up to his car, and everybody is in the car. Yes. He has it down as like Dove or something because of the joke she always does. So it's not as her name. Everybody's in the car. They're like, "Ooh, who's calling? Who is this?" And Sung-hwa is like, "Don't answer. Like, keep your eyes on the road. What are you doing?" And they kind of, a few of them guessed, because he's been glued to his phone recently, that he's dating someone. And they're like, "Oh, who is it? Why don't you tell me?" They're trying to get the phone. He's like, get the phone out of my bag and decline it. And
then Ik-jun actually answers it.
He answers it, I know. One of them gets the phone out, and Ik-jun steals it away and answers it. He's like, "Hello, who's this? Sorry, Junwon can't come to the phone." And then Junwon like parks and gets out and grabs the phone.
Just in time.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
But they pick on him about
they do.
Not knowing who this person is.
Who is it? Oh my gosh, are you dating? Like, yeah. And then, do you have any other from 7? Okay, I have one more. The neurosurgery, the resident.
Oh yeah.
I wish I knew his name. That's the one who likes
just the resident. Yeah.
The main one, because there's multiple actually in that department. They're having a surgery where the patient, like, for part of it has to be awake, which is insane, by the way. I didn't really remember that was a thing. I think I knew it, but I didn't really. But basically, they have to keep the patient they have to have them talk.
Right.
So he was the one who signed to sit down and talk to him. And the patient is a police officer, and he's, afraid that he's going to be, like, paralyzed. And, I guess there's always that small chance that it could be. He's afraid he won't ever be able to be a police officer again. And that's when they kind of joked about, "Oh, why'd you leave the military?" Because he used to be a very, very good person in the military.
Right.
And he always kind of, like, brushed it off. And
he never answered the question before. Yeah.
And he tells this patient, because the patient keeps being like, "Ugh, I can never be a police officer anyway." He tells the patient that he had, was it a tumor, I guess?
On his spine.
Oh, is that what it was? And it paralyzed, like, his legs? I think it was his legs. Either his legs or half his body.
Right.
He basically told him, "I was partly paralyzed.
Right.
But for me, I was able to actually get through it and recover, for the most part, meaning side effects, but he was able to recover, and now
kind of start over
again as someone who he enjoyed studying. So he decided he was going to try and go for it and become a doctor. And that was really cool, because it was the first time we got to hear his story of why he had left the military. And Sung-hwa, who's leading the surgery, obviously is like, "Oh, that's interesting." She she didn't know that about him.
And what's really cool is that they have backstories for all these characters. Even the two med students, the twins, they have a backstory for them, and it's always important.
For almost only one or two, I would say, are ones that I don't know, why they became a doctor.
We'll probably hear some more backstories.
Probably, yes. Yeah. Okay, episode 8. Because we know how to count. What do you got? You should have multiple.
Oh, this is kind of sad. Junwon does an operation on a 3-week-old baby. And just, no matter what he does, can't fix it, can't stop the
or whatever it is, it didn't work.
And so the baby dies, and they hold the funeral there at the hospital. And I doubt he goes to every funeral of every patient he ever loses. But this time he went to the funeral.
Or the two parents and
two
their other
parents
kid.
and their other kid. And the mom breaks down and holds on to him, and he just lets her cry, because I think it shook him a lot.
And he was really disappointed that he couldn't. Oh, that's the one where he, before the surgery, is like so worried it won't go well, and like is worried he has like a fever or something. Like he wants everything to go perfectly. He's so afraid it could go wrong, and in the end, it unfortunately does. Yeah. Slightly lighter note, and then the other one I have is really sad actually. Is when wrong name. Yul leaves in a car with another guy.
Oh yeah, and
they're outside like the ER entrance.
Jungwon witnesses
standing
this.
there.
Well, they're standing. He's standing there in the rain.
No, it's raining.
Okay.
Or it might not be
it's raining, and they're
time.
standing right outside together, and she doesn't really say anything.
No. And then a car pulls up, opens the door. Another guy in the driver's seat. She gets in. They drive away. And that one I believe is a blind date. That one in particular is a blind date. And he was like, huh. And kind of spaces out for a second, because I think his friends pull up in a car like, yo, aren't we going?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. Because he really noted that.
That kind of threw him for a minute there. That maybe she's got a life outside of
that she's dating.
Hospital. She's dating somebody. Yeah.
Okay, do you have any other?
Not for that episode, no.
In the very end of this episode, Suk-hyung, you see an ambulance pull up, and you see someone get out of it. Then the next scene is Suk-hyung, he's running out of the OR. And it's his mom laying there. I believe she's getting CPR, and the look on his face. At that point, that's like the last...
She's his whole world.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from his friends and his profession, she's everything to him.
And it might be...
It's really the only family he has left is her.
It is. It really is the only family that he has any kind of relationship left is her. And... oh, that's a really emotional scene. Of course, they end it right there. In the end, she's fine. I don't know if they know what caused it. I remember, later in the next episode, all the friends are pitching in to take care of her and stay with
babysits her for an hour. So they say, "Oh, it's my shift.
It's my shift." Yeah. But that was like, oof, that was a rough scene, man. But in the end, thinking she's fine. But yeah, okay, 9.
Now, after Jungwon sees her pull away in the car with her blind date, he then sees her being dropped off
in a different car by another guy,
by a different guy, twice, I think. The guy has...
I don't know if it's twice in the same episode.
Okay, well, but it turns out it's her brother. We don't find that out until later.
Brother, yeah, I think
it's her brother.
We don't find that until one of the final episodes.
Right. But it's interesting because that makes him.
He's like, what the heck?
No.
And other people notice it's like a different car every time. Like, what the heck? Like the person you dating like deals cars or something. Like, what the heck? The other one I have for 9 is that the band, they perform for Rosa, which is Jungwon's mom, and the chairman. I really like this song.
It's a really great upbeat song.
And it kind of sounds old school too.
It does.
And obviously, even the people in the older generation, they know this song.
Well, Rosa was singing along.
She was clapping her hands and tapping her feet. It was so much fun. They had their first audience, basically.
Yes, that was fun.
Okay, episode 10.
Wait.
Oh,
I'm not done with 9.
I'm sorry, I thought you already did it.
Okay, and Yeowol again, she another learning moment.
Oh, is that when she
was observing Jungwon with patience and how he's so natural with them. He's so good with talking to the guardians.
Yeah, he's good with explaining stuff.
So the next day when she has to explain something to a mom, same person,
has to re-explain.
She gets out a piece of paper
and draws
a picture of it, and he he actually watches that whole interaction and has this big smile, like, way to go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because you can tell how in the first, or I think it's the first or second episode, she really stated it just as the medical terms, really.
Yeah.
Just as the facts. And
the woman was totally confused and didn't get it at all.
And then in this, she figures out how to, okay, I gotta explain this in something that they're gonna understand better. Even though what she's saying, she understands it, but, the other people don't see it. Okay. Any more for 9?
Okay, so the
in 9
resident is the same 9.
Which one?
9, yeah, 9.
Which one? Which resident?
The surgeon's resident.
Neurosurgery resident. Yeah. Neuro resident,
tells Ik-jun about what happened
to Ik-sun and her
with
ex.
With Ik-sun's ex. And he's very upset because she never told her brother about what happened.
I think he might have known.
He knew there was something that went on, and they're not together, but he didn't hear the details, whole terrible details. And after he finds out about it, he drives all the way out to her base, and
she thought it was her boyfriend.
She got a call saying, there's a handsome guy waiting for you at the front gate.
Who looks like he's like older, 30s or something.
And she gets all excited and she's skipping to the front gate.
It's her boyfriend.
Thinking it's her boyfriend and it's her brother.
She's like ill at first.
And he gives her food and then he gives her money and he tells her, I'm always here. If you ever want to call me, go ahead and call me. And it touches her so much. She starts to choke up and almost cry. And I thought that was such a neat brother-sister moment.
It was.
I loved it. Really was. I hope, you and your brother and sisters will be like that.
I know.
When you're in your almost 40.
Yeah, really.
That you care about each other like that. That was really cool.
Yeah. But it's because he'd never known what actually happened. What happened really, really sucked.
And he hated the fact that he didn't know and he wasn't there for her to help her.
And he couldn't be there for her because he didn't know.
Because he didn't know, right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You ready for episode 10?
Episode 10.
Okay. Oh, what do you have? Which one? You? She looked at her notebook and just died. Which one? Just tell me who it is.
And Uju. At the restaurant.
Oh, is this the one? Oh, yeah.
So they're eating sandwiches.
They always go to the sandwich place.
Yeah, this restaurant. And he's talking about his mother-in-law. And his dad's like, do you know what that word means?
He's like, yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
My wife's mom.
My wife's mom. And he died. Ik-jun just like dies because this kid is
so cute.
He's so serious about it. And then Uju said,
very like
formal
asks his dad,
Abonim, can I have another sandwich?
He's like,
then he says, well, okay, but do something.
Show me something
cute. And he winks at him. And his dad is like he got shot through the heart. It's so like that is I think the best scene of the father-son relationship right there.
One of the best scenes.
One of the best.
And, I mean, he really is a single father.
He is, yeah.
And then in the end, he like legit is a single father.
And he is an awesome single father.
Amazing.
He's amazing. Yeah. I mean, but he's at work a lot. Mm-hmm. But every moment that he can spend with his son, he makes it special, and it's really great.
The next one I have is really, really funny. I love this scene. Junwon is on the phone with Ik-sun, so his girlfriend, and Ik-jun, basically her brother, walks in and without he didn't knock on the door, so he's walking into Junwon's office. Mm-hmm. He just said I love you on the phone, and then Ik-jun walks in. Junwon chucks his phone. He freaks out because he's keeping their relationship a secret that he's dating this sister.
Right.
And he yelled. They were like, what?
What?
and he's like, wait, you knock? He's like, what? He's like, of course I knock. He's like, why would I walk coming into your office? Right. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Okay.
Oh, and that same episode,
I have another one. Yeah.
Ik-jun also confronts
really
Jongwon that you like Gyeol. Don't you?
Right?
Right?
He never really said yes or no.
He never denies that he does, but he never says, yes, I do, because he's still torn between being a priest and his feelings.
That was an interesting character trait. Or not character trait. Interesting thing they have is for one of the characters becoming a priest. I've never seen that in anything. Okay, the other one I find this was a really interesting scene. It really showed the relationship between Songhwa and Ik-jun. Ik-jun gets called into the hospital, I believe, and his son is a little bit has a fever, so he can't leave. I mean, obviously you can't leave him alone anyway, but he needs someone to be there. And Songhwa comes over to look after Uju. And it's really cute how she's taking care of him. I mean, of course you're going to take... Did she call him a nephew? Basically, it's what he is. And then it's really early in the morning, still dark out.
He finally comes home.
He comes home when they have breakfast together. And she really likes the rain. It's raining outside, and she opens the window, and it's very quiet because no one else is obviously awake, and it's so dark out. And it's a really interesting scene with those two, I think.
But isn't that the scene where he says to her,
she's what makes you happy, and what do you do for yourself?
This is what makes me happy.
Being able to just sit down and have a
breakfast
meal
with you.
Just have a meal with you. That was it. Really showed their relationship and kind of hinted
a little bit.
And he's obviously divorced.
What was really funny though was that she actually, this is the neurosurgeon. She called her mom to find out
how to get down the fever.
How to get the child's fever down. That was so funny.
And when she said mothers are better than doctors.
Yes.
Does it work? Because immediately she it didn't work.
And it worked immediately. Yeah,
okay.
It's really sweet.
Okay. We're on to the end.
Okay. 11. Episode 11. Oh, so Suk-hyung's father, who...
terrible person.
Cheated on his wife.
Has a mistress currently.
He is admitted to the ER. And he might not make it. And so Suk-hyung...
So this is a person who's basically ruined his life.
Yes, exactly.
And it's his own father.
He's talking to Songhwa about it. And he's basically saying how I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. Part of me, I know I'm supposed to be upset by this.
And you don't, and it's not like he wants a person.
He doesn't want the person to die. But on the other hand, it would almost be a relief. It would release a lot of stress and tension if this person weren't
out of my life
anymore.
Really, not even dead, just out of my life.
I like the fact that he's struggling with something so real as feelings like that, because it's not like his mother that he loves is in the ER. It's his father that has basically abandoned him. And he has to figure out how to deal with those feelings.
Yeah.
I really appreciate how real they got with that.
And that was 11, correct?
Yes.
Okay. This other one. This one's so funny. Ik-soon and Junwon, they're on the phone again. And this is one, this must have been it's a break room for these surgeons or something. Or a waiting room before they go in. Yes.
I just realized what you're talking about.
And he's on the phone. Ik-jun, aka the older brother, walks in, and he stays on the phone this time and is talking I'll see you this weekend, and obviously Ik-jun wanting to know who the heck he's dating. First he sits next to him, and then he kind of scooches closer, a little bit.
Then he puts his ear against his ear,
and then Junwon's trying to get away, but he's just Ik-jun won't leave.
So he's leaning horizontally.
He is on top of Junwon. And finally, when Junwon was I love you, then hangs up, he jumps up and what is
wrong with you?
Yes! His eyes will punch you right now. That one, just really the comedic Oh man, they're so, especially between the friends, because they end up throughout the show having like pretty serious moments at the hospital dealing with these patients.
Right.
And then a lot of the time between the friends, it's very lighthearted.
Yes.
And, because they're not working right now.
It's a good contrast.
A very good balance,
Yes.
I would say. Okay.
Okay.
I have another. What do you, episode 11? Do you have
All right.
one?
So Jungwon and Gyeol had surgery. This was her first solo surgery.
Or they call it her first time, like, leading.
Leading the surgery.
They called it solo. That was how we translated it.
And during that surgery, he says to her, if all goes well, I'll buy a meal for you.
I think it was her first solo one.
Yeah. So after the surgery, they're out in the little courtyard area. And they're talking and smiling.
And she's talking to him about him. Oh, do you think I did this correctly? And he's like, yeah, I did that really well. Like, maybe next time do this. Like, giving her pointers.
And he's very animated. They're very animated and very...
And you can tell they're enjoying each other's company. And they've gotten to know each other better at this point.
And his mom, at that point, had basically given up.
Yeah, at that point, he had decided he's going to leave the hospital at the end of the year.
Yeah. And then she sees them interacting and talking. And it gives her hope that he's not going to leave. Because that was her big deal. All of her other children are priests.
She's
and
like, I'm going to be left alone.
Yeah. Not that it was wrong for them to be priests. But she doesn't... Her youngest son is, honestly, he's meant to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that, but him.
Yes, but it gives her a bit of hope.
Gives her some hope that,
and
hey, wait. Yeah.
She's like, this is my last chance.
This girl's my last chance. Yeah.
That's an 11.
Oh, and then when Gyeol gets up and walks away,
she stops her. Yeah.
Just know, watching
yes.
Jungwon watch her
like
walk away.
He's like this smile on his face, and that's when you're like, okay, yeah, he definitely.
Yeah, he's just
Okay, the other one I have is a really funny one. This is when they get pork belly, or samgyeopsal, I think is how you say it. Don't quote me on that. Don't remember how to say it.
No, that sounds fine to me.
Yeah, that sounds right. They get pork belly, like, delivered to the office. By the way, obviously it's because it's a show, but dude, that stuff looks
amazing.
It's a commercial quality kind of is what it looks like. And they go like, oh, we got pork belly. Oh my gosh, like they freak out because I love how Sunghwa and Junwon are like so like they eat food together like crazy together. And
they lock them.
Ikjun and Jungwon lock those
them
two
out
of the room because they want to get a few bites.
And they quick shovel in bites of this stuff before unlocking the door.
And then they let him in, and the next thing is them like
inhaling
this food. Dude, it made me starving.
Oh, I know. I literally watched that episode. I watched that scene.
Oh, was I eating during that?
And I had to pause and go get food.
Was I eating?
Because it made me hungry watching them.
I think you
were eating at the time, and I had to go get food.
You're like, oh shit, I'm starving now. Yeah. Okay.
Episode 12.
Finale of the first season.
Yes.
This is where a lot of push comes to shove. Okay. Well, let's go from top to bottom here because I did them in order. I think in this one is when at this point Sunghwa is going to one of their a different branch for 1 year, I believe. It's like 2 hours from Seoul, I think she said.
Right.
Partly because she's getting she's
disc. Her disc is messed up.
Her disc is messed up in her neck.
Yeah, she's having a lot of pain.
Yeah. And that's obviously even harder because of her surgeries.
Right.
Basically, she's partly leaving because she can get treated while being a little less busy. And so, and Ikjun
he's going to a conference,
basically, I think in Spain. Be there for like a week and a half, I think. And she's moving into her apartment that she got. And he, kind of came over. She's like, what are you doing here? You should be like in the airport. And he's like, I got a few hours. And it's just them.
He's like, I have a question for you.
Yeah, I have a question for you. And he's like, how does he say it? And he was like, so I have this friend, and we've known each other for years. And I think I'm pretty sure I have feelings for them. But I'm not sure how I would tell them.
And I don't want to regret not telling
but he
them.
basically is like, I'm afraid that if I tell them, I could, basically ruin their friendship. But if I don't tell them, I'm going to regret it for, like, the rest of my life. And,
Right.
And that is him confessing to her. She knows it. You can see it on her face. And she just doesn't know what to say. And
he's like, well, tell me when I'm back.
when I'm back. And he did that because she was, like, giving advice to people before she was leaving.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need some advice, too. And that was, like, a very unique way of doing it. I thought that was really interesting.
And I think in a way, if she decides that, no, we can only be friends, it gives her a way to tell him that, and he'll be okay with it.
Yeah. And one thing you noted, especially the second time watching it, because we knew the plot and stuff, was how she laughs at his jokes.
Yes.
He's probably like the comedian of the group. Yeah. Definitely, I would say his comedic timing. But she really, really likes his puns, his humor,
yes.
And she laughs like no one else does it.
Right. Yeah, cool. I didn't notice that
the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, that's when you said it. I'm like, oh yeah, you're so right.
That was cool to see.
Yeah, and then the other one was, I guess I didn't write down the other scene with them, but it was Junwon Iksun, how he was debating on what to do because he wanted to get couple rings, and she had told him, don't, like, I don't want to.
She doesn't ever want to get married, so.
Right, probably because of her ex is part of the reason, unfortunately. But, and he stays true to that for a while, but you can tell he truly really wants that, and he gets advice from...
I love the scene where he gets advice from the resident.
So I think
because
the resident gets advice from him
all the time.
Yeah. And actually might be in the same scene where he tells him, ask me anytime if you have any questions if I'm not busy. But he gets advice from the one married dude. Basically says,
excellent advice.
He basically tells him, I want to give this, I don't think he says rings. I think he just says gift to my girlfriend. But I know she doesn't like this kind of thing. What should I do? And he's like, talk to her.
Talk to her about it.
And he's like, if you're in a good relationship, just ask. And I mean, really, they'll tell you. And I feel like an idiot for forgetting this, but they show it really, really quick. He's packaging up the couple rings, and obviously had, asked her about it.
We didn't actually see him.
Ask her.
So that's probably why you didn't realize.
We see, I didn't know this the first time. We see after he's, like, packaging up the ring, and she's currently in the UK to get her doctorate.
Right.
And, so, they've been long distance. And he's going to, mail her the ring. He's on the phone like, I'll make sure you wear it all the time. And it's, really happy. And obviously she said, okay, fine, that's okay. You can send it. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
But then in this final episode, you get the package returned.
But we don't know why.
And my very first thought, actually, watching it for the very first time was... probably because she keeps saying, did you double check the address? It's really complicated.
She said it more than once.
Yeah, my mail keeps getting messed up. And my first thought was like, she probably just never received it or something. That was my first thought, because it had, in English, because it was to the UK, I guess. In English, it says, like, reasons for return, like, rejected, like, the wrong ad. And it was, like, unknown.
Right.
Like,
as if she never received it in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is one of the ones, obviously, the second season is going to, like, it could be nothing.
Right.
But
I really don't think it's going to be a big deal unless he makes it a big deal. Unless he starts questioning.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, kind of hard to get in contact because it's like an 8-hour difference.
Right. He has to wait till a certain time of day.
Yeah.
And if he's in surgery, the two of them connecting is really hard.
Now, I mean, even before they were both busy, she was in the military, he was a surgeon.
Well, now she's there for 2 years.
3
years. 3 years. Yeah.
And then the next thing that happened, I think, actually, no, that might have been the last.
The last scene was J&G.
Actually, no, I don't think it was. Technically, I think it was, Suk-hyung.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
I'll say Suk-hyung's first, so slightly out of order.
Okay.
Because this is after his father passed away, which, you know, there was some legal stuff there that was hard for him, really. And you could really see, I really liked the friends really caring.
Where his dad wanted him to take over his company. Ugh. And he actually struggled with that for a while until he decided that that's not what I want.
Or how, like, the father was terrible person. He didn't leave anything to his, like, mistress
who was pregnant with his child.
Child, which was, like, that was weird. It basically, I think the mom was like, he basically just saw her as a caregiver for life. I'm like, that is awful.
What a jerk.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
But
I'll be interested to see what they do with that. Whether they...
I haven't finished what they
have a relationship with her at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he said...
I doubt it.
Suk-hwang, he said, it's not the baby's fault.
It's his half-sibling, which is like
half-sibling. Yeah.
Dude, it's your half-sibling with like a 40-year age gap.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Okay, well, basically in the final scene you see of him is his ex-wife calls. The funniest thing is, first, I'm pretty darn sure it's his ex-wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I remember reading about it, but I remember the very first time we watched it, they'd only mentioned the ex-wife's name a few times. Yeah. We're terrible with the names. Did not, like,
we had to look it up and find out who called him on the phone.
We literally Googled it, and we're like, oh, shoot, it's the ex-wife.
Right.
The second time watching it, we obviously knew already. But I was reading an article saying how that could go multiple ways.
Oh, yeah.
It could be a legal reason because of the father passing away and the business and and then, but it also could just be her checking up on him or wanting to reconnect. Like, it could be a lot of different things.
Right.
Okay.
And our favorite, at least that's my favorite.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but I think it's one of the best scenes.
The scene we were all waiting for,
gosh.
Put it that way.
I was legitimately holding my breath during this scene.
So
I'm serious.
Gilwell, Rosa asked Gilwell to talk to
her son, and ask him to stay
because Rosa could see that she meant something.
There was a connection.
There's a connection,
yeah.
And she's like, "But I'm a nobody." But then she realized if I don't say anything,
he might leave.
He might actually leave.
This scene is so...
Unbeknownst to everybody else, he had already decided.
No, he told one person. I think he told, like, Songhua?
He told Songhua.
No, he told Songhua.
No, Songhua figured it out. She read his body language in his face.
And he was like, don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
He said, I have someone I want to tell first.
Right.
This we actually seen after this.
So before she said anything to him, he had already decided to stay.
Yes.
But she asks him.
This took a lot of courage.
Oh, man. And you could see her chin quivering.
She was a little shaky.
She was looking
down at the floor.
And she had tears in her eyes.
And basically straight up asked him, please stay.
Stay by my side, are the words she used.
And this scene, one of the things I really noted is how realistic it feels because they kept the beginning of it, her talking and confessing to him, they kept it dead.
No music.
Silent. You can hear her like swallowing because she's like choking up and doesn't know what to do. And it made it so realistic. It really did.
I like the fact that as she struggled to say it took her a while to say it.
You can see his
He
face.
was quiet. He let
waiting.
her say everything she needed to say.
Yeah. And then you can see he is getting emotional, seeing her getting emotional.
Right.
Oh, then he like slowly stands up and slowly walks over. I remember actually holding my breath at that point. Honestly. And I think he just at first just touches her face, which honestly is all you need. And then the kiss. And oh my God.
Yeah.
This is when you see the flashback. I believe it's during the kiss.
Right.
That
he ran
to the ER when she had an allergic reaction.
Mm-hmm. But he never never went in.
He was worried about her, but didn't want to actually go in. So she was in the ER, and he was outside the doors, pacing back and forth, but didn't want to go in, but did not want to go in. And showed a few other scenes.
At that point, he did not know what to do with his feelings.
Yeah.
He was so confused.
He hadn't decided yet,
right.
Really. And it's just oh, man. It was really cool, though, because they took that moment to really show his perspective of how he was dealing with that and fighting with it. And also some sweet moments. You actually, that scene you did not see until the end. You never saw that. You never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one thing I really wanted to note, speaking of the kiss scene, is how Ik-jun was kind of trying to set them up with Ik-jun was trying to set Yeol with Jun-won. Remember? Hello?
Oh, he helped her. He was helping her.
Yes.
Fake that she had a boyfriend.
Yeah, fake that she had a boyfriend and that kind of thing. He would show her pictures of him on his phone. It was really, really cute.
The relationship between Ik-jun and Yeol is so funny because he knows that she has a crush and helps her out, and it's really cute.
It's really funny.
Cute. Almost like a big brother, little sister thing.
Yeah, kind of like that. And when she's getting out of different cars each time, Ik-jun had asked her is the person you're dating a car dealership or that works for a car dealership? And she's you got half of it right. And she's oh, it's my brother, but yeah, he's test driving the cars. It's so annoying. And he was you know what? Let's take this as a chance. And that's when they fake her having a boyfriend.
Right.
And it was funny because it was him helping them out, partly wanting her to be happy, and his friend. He really wants her.
Well, because he sees that they would make a good match.
They would work together. Pair. Exactly. Yeah. So I would say
if you think about it, speaking of them being a good pair, I never thought of this before, but she's so grounded and
he's grounded,
serious, and Jung-won is so emotional.
Yeah, and he's a bit more outgoing than her and stuff like that.
So it would
complement each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I would say overall we loved the first season. Obviously, and I'm pretty sure, considering how well the first season did, I'm pretty sure they're gonna keep pretty close to the same feel for the second season. I remember
it's not a rom-com, it's not a melodrama.
Exactly.
It's a story about friendship.
Exactly. And about normal people and their normal lives, basically. Yeah, we loved Hospital Playlist. We almost started watching it a second time earlier, but then we started watching other shows. Yeah. Timing-wise, we actually worked out pretty well. We've been literally counting down the days. It's been bad. It's funny because it feels weird that it's 2 days. For us, it's 2 days. When this is going up, it'll be 1. But yeah.
Now, do you have any? I'm looking forward to. I'm curious about things. Oh, you didn't write them down. Okay.
One of the things was right before Songhwa had left for the other branch. One of the chief resident had asked her dating advice.
Oh, yes.
And he confessed to one of the other residents. And I had honestly forgotten about that scene the first time we watched it, but I really noted it the second time because it showed how they were also developing their story, like the secondaries and
Right.
almost minor, like, or even with like the nurse. She's more minor, but they were still developing somewhat of, a plot. And like even like that relationship, I'm kind of looking forward to.
I am too. I actually wrote that one down. I want to see where that goes.
I remember that the first time I watched it,
Right.
but this time I was like, oh yeah, that's really interesting how they did that. What are you looking forward to? I didn't make a list.
Ikjun and Songhwa's relationship.
Yeah, and we were
Now, even if he comes home in 10 days,
and she's like, I don't know.
No, but if she says, I think we could try this, she's still away for the next year.
Now, mind you, she said she was going to visit like every weekend and stuff. Like she's around. She's like 2 hours away.
She'll be there for band practice.
Exactly. She'll be there like every weekend.
But it's not going to be the same as seeing each other
at work
every day
or even if she says, I'm not sure yet, I don't know about it. Well, that kind of thing, it's just, same kind of thing where they won't be seeing each other every single day, so they could get over it, but hopefully they won't grow apart if in the end, which I actually really don't know how she's gonna. He really let her decide. He wasn't like, you gotta answer me. Like he's like, don't worry about it. Like I won't see you for 10 days or something.
I think the two of them could have a beautiful relationship.
They definitely could.
But I think the two of them could also have a beautiful friendship as well.
Yes, definitely. And for him, he finally was able to get his feelings out there. So he said, he's like, I'm gonna regret it if I don't. Right. Yeah. And also her, who she really, really likes, and also has a relationship with Yuju, his son. Yeah. Which for her, it wouldn't just be having a relationship with him. He does have a son. Yeah. Which she's known the son since he was born. Right. So it'd also be different for Uju to have a mom, basically. Yeah. That'd be very, very different.
His mom was gone so much.
He never had one. Right. Oh, wow, that'd be really different. I mean, obviously you want to be his mom right away. They'd only be dating if they do date, which I hope they do. I hope at least something. But honestly, with them, even if it doesn't work out, of course you hope it will. Even if it doesn't, I think they could still be friends.
I think so too.
It might be awkward for a while, but I think they could still be friends. I really do. And then I'm very curious what they're going to do with the ex-wife of Seokhyung. I, in a way, almost hope... Dude, he probably has the roughest life out of all of them. Yeah. It is rough, man. Everything just keeps going wrong. But that's the reason I really hope, honestly, it's his ex-wife wanting to catch up in a way. But then that could also complicate things with the resident, who she confessed her feelings to him. Right. And... I can't remember. Someone talked to him how he really needs to focus on himself in a way of, he mentioned part of the reason he just kind of acknowledged her feelings, but said no, was he doesn't want it to happen what happened with his ex.
Right. He doesn't want to hurt anybody else with his life.
Yes. And partly, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ikjun, but I really don't remember, was talking to him about that. And really was like, just go for it. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I'm curious to see whether they keep him single and happy with where he is.
Yeah. Or even if he does or doesn't stay single. Yeah.
Right. But in a lot of shows, everybody gets paired up in the end with somebody.
It is a show after all.
It is a show after all. But wouldn't it be more realistic
if one person
decided they want to be single? And it's to show that it's okay to be single. Yes, you don't always have to be a couple.
But also for him, it could really, in a way, show him it's okay. It's okay for, to depend on others and get them involved in your life. It could really go both ways. And I think I more want him to be with, if he ends up with anybody, basically, to be with the resident more than his ex-wife, partly because we haven't met her yet. She could be a totally fine person, but we haven't met her yet. And that could also be kind of
Right.
different, going back to your ex.
Apparently, it took him a long time to get over that.
He's not even still not.
And
he's
to
over
have
it
to deal with it again.
Yeah. And hopefully it's not because of legal reasons, but I guess you don't really know.
Okay, and then there's Jungwon and Gilwell, who. So I'm curious. Obviously, they're going to start dating.
Or something.
Or
Something.
something. I'm
They're not
curious
just
just to
buddies.
see whether they're going to keep it secret or not. Obviously, they can't keep it secret from
They might.
Ik-jun,
They might
but like
from other people at work.
at work, just at work
wouldn't
for
be
work
surprised.
reasons.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But obviously the friends are going to know something because he told them, "Oh, I'm leaving in like December or January."
Right.
So obviously they're going to know something's up.
Yeah, I think for his friends to all know, it would be
weird,
fine.
yeah.
But
People at work, he might.
you don't want to make things.
Awkward.
You don't want to make it look like you're favoring the person,
yeah. Ooh, that'd
giving
be
them
really
surgeries just
hard.
because it's your girlfriend.
That could be. That's the things
So-
where like an office romance where
Right.
we've talked about this before in shows where a lot of time one is like not the boss, but one is above the other one. The problem really is favoritism or something like along those lines could be.
Or getting accused of favoritism, even if you're not
even if
doing
it's
it.
not happening, you could be accused of it totally. And that I didn't think about that. That could totally happen. And then there's obviously Junwon and Ik-sun. We talked about this earlier anyway, how it could be multiple reasons of
Right.
why that ring got returned. And I'm hoping it really is just like, oh, it never actually got there, or it got there and was the wrong address and got rejected or something like that. But they left it very like unknown as the reason why it was returned. They left it marked unknown.
Yeah, I think their relationship,
It's very real.
I foresee it's going to be a little rough
Yeah.
because of the distance.
So the distance, I mean, they were busy even beforehand. They didn't
Right,
see each other
right.
often. And now she's, what they say, 8-hour difference? And that's already hard.
But he's so he really loves her. He would marry her.
Oh my gosh, on the spot.
on the
yeah.
spot, but he's trying to. But he even said to her, "If I can't marry you ever, it's fine.
Exactly.
As long as I can be with
Yeah,
you."
because he
And-
totally understands
Right.
that. Oh, because she told him. She told him about the ex at some point, and so he partly understands why.
right,
Really. And
right.
yeah, I mean, I'm also looking forward to what they're going to do with the resident from neurosurgery who now is the chief resident,
right.
who wanted to come with Sunghwa, but she's like, no, you idiot.
Yes.
Like, no, your career, you better stay.
Yeah.
But with that, like, what are they going to do with him and how he liked Sunghwa, and now he's getting more responsibility at his job and that kind of thing. And I really wonder if they're going to... I kind of hope they don't. I don't think there'd be no reason to. If they're going to just obviously stick with those characters, if there's going to be any new characters, not really. The only thing I could see would be the med students becoming like part of the hospital. Be the only thing I'd... Can't have any more characters and also they don't need more characters.
They don't need any
I
more
love these
characters.
I don't want any more characters.
Right. Yeah. We're fine.
We're good.
Unless we actually get some more characters where Songhua is going to be for a year.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
We could be.
But I feel like we're probably not going to see as much of her life there as we're going to see it when she's visiting. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I never even thought how they're going to do that. Because she's supposed to be away for a year.
Right. Well, I really think she's going to be away. Maybe it won't be for a full year, but
at least
health wise,
yeah.
she needs to be
think so.
away
Gosh,
for a time.
I kind of what I not predict. That's not. I hate predicting.
Yeah.
What I think might happen will be they show most of the plot when she's there, like every weekend or something.
Right.
Which would make the most sense because everybody's together. I mean, they also show a lot of the plot. They do a good job of showing it them all together, but then also showing them separate in all departments.
I think you're gonna really see how important she is to their little group because
She's gonna be gone.
she's going to be gone. They're gonna miss that.
They got used to. It might have been a year. I don't know. It might have been a year of them all at the same hospital. Mm-hmm. It was at least months, I would say.
Yeah, I think it was a year.
It was a year. I think they mentioned that. And they got. I mean, they were close together already, but they were all at the same hospital.
Yeah.
I think it was like half and half.
I think it was really great for all of them.
I think it was 2 were at one and 3 were at the other or something before, but. And it was different for them. They were all together. They could hang out easier. I mean, it's not easy, but having one of them gone for, obviously she's visiting all the time, but that's still.
It kind of changes the dynamic.
A little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, I never even thought about that. Oh boy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that can be really interesting, but
I also look forward to more funny moments between the chairman and Rosa. Because
I hope that never changes. I hope they stay.
Their friendship is amazing.
I hope they stay like secondary characters. Secondary, they're not quite minor. None of the characters are very minor, almost really. But I hope they really keep them as some of the secondaries, and I love that showing like in the older generation and their humor too. Oh my gosh, they're so funny. But we are looking forward to season 2 a lot.
Yes.
And I think I read an article about an interview with like the director and how they were talking about they really, really want to get the same tone for the second as it is the first. Because that's why that show worked, really, was the tone of the show, I would say.
I think people responded to it because they could identify with the characters and the stuff that they went through.
And they feel so real, too.
Right, exactly.
The things that they went to, or even some of the patients, what the patients had gone through. Like, the one patient was saying how, a lot of patients actually were saying where they had a donor, but they were like, I'm so happy my child can probably survive, but I feel bad for being happy because someone else had to pass away for my child. And that's a hard emotion to deal with. And a lot of the doctors said, just be thankful for them. Never forget them.
Right.
I can't,
Every year on your child's birthday, thank the donor.
Them. That was, I thought that was a cool way to look at it. Partly because most of the time you can't get any kind of information about them or anything like, they can't, give out a personal, information. But
this is just a side note regarding that. When you have a donor, my other daughter had knee surgery, and she had
my sister.
She had a tendon in her knee completely replaced, and the hospital gave her a card.
Oh, yeah, they did.
She was able to write a note to the donor's family,
which was really neat.
I thought that was excellent.
Yeah.
You don't get to know names or anything
personal,
but it's sent to the family
through the hospital.
And I thought that was a great way to do it.
I totally forgot they did that.
You could thank them.
And what's interesting is that she was getting a tendon.
Right.
It was not a heart or
or a it wasn't life threatening.
It wasn't life threatening. It was very inconvenient and giving her a lot of issues.
Right. It was very important.
It was very important that she got that, but it was just a tendon. But they still made sure, because it was someone who had passed away. I assume was it someone who had? Yeah, obviously.
Yes.
Was it? Obviously,
yes,
it was, and that was showing that even for something that you could say is small,
seems insignificant, but it's super important.
It's not. But how? And you did send a note. Did you in the end?
She did, yeah. She wrote a note to them, thanking them for their loved one's gift to her.
Yes. And saying, that she really appreciated that and stuff like that. And that's true. That was really cool. The hospital set that up. They were able to do that.
Right.
And really just, a heart or liver or anything, you'd probably remember more because it's a bit more of a serious surgery, recovery time.
But I imagine they would do the same thing. You would be able to contact anonymously.
Yeah. And we didn't have to tell our name. They didn't tell us their name because of privacy. But we're really excited for season 2.
But it's going to take a while.
Oh my gosh, we're not used to watching stuff like when it's like airing.
Ugh. Watching, getting only 1, maybe 2 a week is going to be...
It's 1.
Is it 1? 1 a week is going to be hard. That's going to take 12 weeks?
Yeah.
Where we're used to finishing it in 4 days.
Or a week and a half, usually.
Yeah.
The longest we go
Yes.
for.
So, our next hospital playlist podcast will be a while.
Yeah, because we might probably do it halfway through the show. We seem to work best with that.
We do.
We learned. We had a goof episode, unfortunately, because we loved that show that we're thinking of redoing, but we're not sure yet. We took this whole episode and tried to cram, not a whole episode, whole show, tried to cram it into one episode. It just didn't work.
It didn't work.
It was chaotic. I mean, also that was us learning how to do it, but yeah, we'll probably do one halfway. I think it's also supposed to be 12 for the second season. We'll probably do one after the first 6.
Yeah, I am sure we will love it as much as we love season 1.
There's no way. Unless they kill off a freaking character.
If you think about it, we have talked a long time here about this show. And
don't we need to tell you how long we've been?
We will talk
more.
I am sure.
Word. Yes, we will. But we're really excited for season 2. We hope you guys are also excited because, we're stoked. But we really hope you guys enjoyed. This is double the length of any other of our other 2 episodes, and this is going to be going up really close to the other one because we wanted to get it up before. Yes, and I was late with the last one. I was like,
we apologize.
I was a day late with the editing for it, but we hope you guys enjoyed listening, and we hope to see you next time on Kdrama Convos.